Bottoms up! What a dooski, guys, it's Pharaoh34 here with my movie review for A Cure for Wellness. The story for this one is, a Wall Street stockbroker played by Dane DeHaan travels to a remote location in the Swiss Alps to retrieve his company's CEO from a mysterious wellness center. One thing leads to another, and then he soon suspects that these treatments are not what they seem to be. His sanity is tested as he unravels the spa's secrets and tries to escape. Going into this one, I didn't know what to expect. From the looks of it, it appeared to have an interesting premise, although they didn't show too much in the trailer, so I was really interested in finding out the secrets and the twist in this film. But let's go get right into it. First off, A Cure for Wellness is a rather original movie, so I gotta give them a hand just for making something like this, with a fairly creative idea behind it. Nowadays, we don't get these big studios pushing these movies at the mid-range level that are thrillers and horrors in this kind of a setting that we see in A Cure for Wellness. Performance-wise, I actually thought Dane DeHaan did a great job for the majority of this movie. His character is rather uncharismatic and not a very likable person, so I can see some people not being behind him all the way, but I think DeHaan presents this success-driven dick stockbroker fairly well. With regards to some of the other cast, I think that Jason Isaac and Mia Goth actually do a pretty good job as well. This film is directed by Gore Verbinski, whom you may probably know from The Pirates of the Caribbean and The Lone Ranger, and I have to say, he does a solid job directing with A Cure for Wellness. This movie has some beautiful imagery throughout it, and it looks good. One thing I can say I enjoyed quite a bit was the atmosphere and the ambience generated in this one. It was well done. At many points you feel this creepy, eerie feeling from this facility and its people. There aren't very many jump scares in the sense of a traditional horror movie, but the thriller aspects of this are good. The editing and sound design in this one are crisp. They really get you immersed in this world, or should I say the facility. You feel engaged with the activities going on. Another thing was, I like the themes and undertones presented in A Cure for Wellness. The whole idea of this sickness and obsession over materials and success along with a few other things work well. Not to mention, there was a lot of mirroring in this movie, plus a bunch of other symbolisms. However, I will say some of them don't really connect back later on, and that's to do with some of the other problems. But lastly, it is enjoyable figuring out what exactly is happening in this story along with the main character, Lockhart. What exactly is happening at this facility? Why is there all this water? Are the people here crazy? Am I crazy? It was fun to do this for the first act or so. Unfortunately, early on they practically hand feed you the reveal and what is really happening in the story, and I wish that there was more to it because it was so obvious, but there isn't, and then the main character learns what's going on but still makes stupid decisions. There's something up with this water. Bottoms up! Like, and I can see it getting a little frustrating for some people. It'll go from a nice minute-long, tense thriller moment to then 10 minutes of exposition or just walking around, just dragging out. Leading into another issue for A Cure for Wellness, it's longer than it needs to be. It's roughly 2 hours and 26 minutes long, and honestly, why? There are literally like 2 pump fake moments in this movie where you think it's gonna end, it would make sense to end, but then it doesn't. And in my mind, I'm thinking like if they had ended it there and maybe changed some things, it would have made the film honestly much better, or at least they could have cut out some of the unnecessary bits. Ultimately, what I think pulls A Cure for Wellness from being fantastic is its script. The plot is fairly convoluted, it tends to drag, and on top of that, it's predictable in terms of its big revelation. With regards to the first act, it's fairly engaging and entertaining. The second act is almost just as, but it drags. It's this last act that's over the top and wonky, and granted, I didn't hate it, while I find many people might because of how big it gets in this scale. I'm really more disappointed in it because the climax wasn't even really a climax because it was already given to the audience so much earlier on that you already put it together like halfway through the film or even earlier. So I was just kind of waiting for it to happen. Another thing about A Cure for Wellness is I just can't help but feel like there was a lack of direction. And I think it's because of this lack of direction that at moments this film really feels stagnant or loses momentum. Like I said, this movie looks great, it sounds great. I think Verbinski's vision is there. However, I feel the script tangles with that quite a bit. In the process of attempting to be strange and distinctive, the convolutedness of the script ends up meddling, which otherwise could have been a great movie. Look, I like seeing creative, original movies like this in the theaters. However, granted, while I didn't hate this movie, I actually kind of liked it. I really wish they had revised the story thoroughly, maybe trimmed out 40 minutes or so and tightened up the story. You cut out some of the useless things with the whole town, or like maybe just alluded to it instead of having sequences with it. And with some of the longer sequences, while they do look beautiful, they really don't contribute to the story whatsoever. Had they done some of these along with some other things, I think this could have been a much more successful movie. Overall, A Cure for Wellness is a convoluted, unnecessarily long and predictable thriller. However, it's the soundtrack, cinematography, performances, and great disturbing elements elements that keep this one afloat. I'm gonna give A Cure for Wellness a 6 out of 10. I would say if you're in for some disturbing scenes as well, you want to see an original thriller and horror movie, I'd say go check it out. You know, support these kinds of films. If you're really into those kinds of films, I would say maybe go check it out. I would recommend though probably a matinee screening or just wait till it comes on Netflix. With that being said, guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you have not already. Also guys, don't forget to check out my social media, links in the description down below, as well as my P.O. Box. I will see you guys next time. Peace.